Hey there, good evening. I'm Monique Bradley. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm really excited about tonight's live stream because not only are you guys with me, so hello to you, Jenny Thompson. Hi, Rachel Elwood. Good to see you. So many people are watching tonight's live stream. Really cool to see you. And tonight's recipe is actually really amazing. You know when you're looking for that really cool snack, and one of my favorites Hopefully we've got sound now. We've got sound finally. Sorry about that. Just before we went live, apparently the batteries died in one of the units that we're using. Anyway, welcome. I'm Monique Bradley. I'm here live streaming in Auckland, New Zealand. If you've been following me on social media, or if this is the first time we've met, I have lost 40 kilos in weight, and I've completely transformed my lifestyle and my health by choosing to eat foods that are lower in carbohydrates. Now, a lot of really yummy snack foods are my favorites, but they're really high in carbs and they don't serve my health. And they've led to me gaining weight, thinking I was eating kind of okay, but my body didn't react terribly well, and I would have a whole lot of health problems, including IBS, including high blood pressure, and I was pre-diabetic. So I've completely transformed my health by choosing to eat these delicious low carb foods. And the best part is that I don't feel like I'm missing out anymore. So I get to eat all the snacks and treats that I like, but I ensure that I choose low carb options. And the result is I have really good health. So welcome to tonight's live stream from wherever you're watching in the world. In fact, I'd love to know where you're watching from. So I can see a whole bunch of you. Hi, Jenny Thompson. Hi, Lynn Nolan. Vanessa Bennett, nice to see you popping in tonight. Rachel Elwood, great to see you too. Therese Villegas, good to see you as well. Let me know in the streams where you're actually watching from tonight, because I'd love to know where in the world you are. Now, tonight's recipe is one of my favorites. One of my favorite snack foods is actually onion rings, and I noticed more recently I had a bit of a craving for onion rings, and I thought, how can I actually make them low carb? So when you're a low carber like me, one of the things you can't do is you can't eat anything that has high sugars or starches in there. So I don't eat anything that is made from white flour, not because I'm gluten sensitive or even celiac or gluten intolerant. It's because my body simply can't process the starches and the carbohydrates. However, I've learned to adapt a whole bunch of recipes that are my favorites into low carb versions by basically using things like almond meal, coconut flour, and occasionally I also use besan flour, which is made from chickpeas. Now, chickpeas are slightly higher in carbohydrates, but they're also loaded with lots of fiber. So what that actually does in our bodies is it actually takes longer to process. And really, it's the low GI foods or the low carbohydrate foods which are better for my body. And chances are, if you're like me and you've spent years with symptoms of IBS or you've had unexplained weight gain, your body may not be handling carbohydrates either. So tonight's recipe, as I mentioned, is delicious onion rings, and we're going to do something a little bit different with them. So we're actually going to cover them in a delicious crunchy kind of batter, but it's not made from traditional wheat flour, it's actually made from almond meal. Now, it's got almond meal and eggs in this recipe, so you're actually increasing the fat content, but these aren't deep fried, and you're also adding in a huge amount of protein. So got the humble old onion. I love this too because it's a relatively cheap recipe to make. So you want to find a really big onion. I'll only do a few of the pieces tonight to show you because it's a little bit of a labor intensive recipe. The other thing you need is you just need 1 egg per onion. So I'm going to crack that into my blender. Now, I'm notorious for being really lazy in the kitchen. So when I can use a blender, because I know I can throw this straight into the dishwasher afterwards, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I don't know about you guys, but I hate the smell of eggs on my hand. Hi, Joan Martin. Good to see you. Cam Brown, great to see you as well. Awesome. Let me know where you guys are watching from tonight. I want to hear from you guys. Let's get the conversation going. And tell me also, what are you guys eating tonight too? I'd love to know what's cooking in your kitchen. Right, so I've got some egg going on there. Woo! That's sounding pretty good. We're going to whiz up that egg, and to make the batter, instead of a traditional batter, we're actually going to dip our onion rings into that egg and then coat it in this kind of grainy, crumbly texture. Pretty similar to what you would do, say, with breadcrumbs. But of course, this one is really cool, high in fiber, really, really good fats in there. I'm going to separate my onion rings up. I'm going to throw them into this egg, into this blended egg. Just like that. And I'm going to let that sit for a minute just to soak in a little bit of that mixture. Right, the batter itself, or the crumb I should really say, is made from a mix of almond meal, which I absolutely adore. I love almond meal. I use it for everything. And then it's a case of deciding what flavors do I want to add in there. So you can add in some paprika, which is what I'm going to do tonight. I love paprika for adding a little bit of heat. Now, if you're using paprika, you could also consider adding in a little bit of chili powder if you want something a little bit spicier. Other options you can look at. Tonight I'm also going to add in a few bits and bobs of Parmesan. I've found Parmesan in my fridge, and it's really lovely when you want to bake with it. So it's a really good thing to add into the mix. I don't know if you guys have ever been to your local market and you've seen a container like this, loaded with this just absolutely delicious, I'll open it up and show you. Whoopsie, a little bit too much there. Garlic salt. This is one of my favorite products in the entire world. And this recipe, because almond meal doesn't have a huge amount of flavor, something like this is absolutely delicious in a recipe like this. I'll just sprinkle that onto the plate actually. The other thing you could look at is you can go online. There's a great company, a website you can go to. I believe it's called Cook and Nelson. And because their premises is on the corner of Cook Street and Nelson Street, and they have this range of salts called a molar. Now inside you've got a whole bunch of different packs of these delicious kind of smoky flavored salts. So there's sea salt loaded with different flavorings. So one's kind of a savory umami, almost a bacony flavor, and each salt has a slightly different flavor. These are really lovely on your tabletop as well when you're wanting to maybe add something a little bit fancy to a dinner party. Really, really nice instead of just your standard traditional salt. So this recipe really is about flavor. So to make the crumb, what you're going to do, and I learnt this the hard way, the mixture, when you're mixing in the egg and the almond meal, it kind of ends up a little bit gluggy and a little bit like in little balls of mixture. And we don't want to do that. So first of all, when I tried this, I actually mixed a whole cup of almond meal into a bowl to use for the crumb. And then I realized it wasn't the most efficient use of the almond meal. So you're going to put onto a big plate half a cup of almond meal, right? You're going to mix that through. Into there, you want to add some of your salts. So if you want to use your garlic salt, that's a great idea. What I'm actually going to use tonight is a very special blend that my friend Marcelo from Durello, a Brazilian cheese bread company, actually gave me to try. So this is a mix of sea salt. You've got some beautiful herbs and spices in there as well. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of the flavorings you maybe get on the outside of KFC. So those lovely sort of southern spices in there, really delicious. And again, you can make your own blend. So if you love mixed herbs, you can put that in there. And just for a little bit of something smoky, I am going to add in just a touch of paprika because I adore that too. Who else is watching? Oh, there's so many of you watching tonight. Make sure you say hi and ask questions. Victor Brown, good to see you. Oh, my cousin Raywin and Clinton Simonson, good to see you. Better grab a teaspoon for that. Awesome to have you guys on the stream tonight. And make sure you say hi and let me know how you guys are getting on. Now I'm going to add into the mix, into my crumb, half a teaspoon of paprika, and this gives this just the most delicious smoky kind of flavor, which I absolutely adore. Mixing that through, we want to mix all those salts and those lovely savory flavors in there, and that's basically the basis of your crumb. A really nice mix. Cool thing about that is that's also gluten-free, so for those of you who might be celiac or gluten sensitive, no worries there, my friends. Okay, shifting things around here a little so I can make room. Right, we've got a bit of a workstation going on here. What we're going to do is take these onion rings, which we've put into our egg batter there, mix them over a little bit more, just like that. Oh yeah, that's a good one right there. And you're just going to basically land it into your crumb just like that. Really, really simple recipe. Now what I've done too is I've pre-prepared a baking tray. The oven's already heating up. I've set it to 200 degrees Celsius on fan bake, because I pretty much do everything on fan bake in my oven. And you're just basically loading them up. This could not be easier, to be fair. And what I love is these are going to actually bake in the oven. So you're not going to deep fry these like you would if you maybe had them at a restaurant, but you're still going to get those savory flavors. Now what I learnt is don't use the same fork that you use with your egg and your crumb, because it all gets completely messy. So I'm going to flip that over just like that, and boom, that one is done. Could not be more easy, right? Like seriously, this is something I'm pretty sure the kids would love to do actually over the school holidays. So really just cover that up with that seasoning. Oh, I forgot to put my Parmesan. I'll do Parmesan in the next lot. Put your Parmesan in there, and you can put around, for this, I'd put probably 8 tablespoons of the grated Parmesan you can buy in your supermarket, or if you're fancy and you've got your own Parmesan cheese in the fridge there, you could grate a whole lot over, and that cheese will just melt beautifully as you cook it. So you're just going to cover that all up in your crumb, just like that. Now what's going to happen is those flavorings, of course, are going to stick there. But of course you think, it's going to be really dry, right? Well, the magic is actually, before it goes to the oven, just like you would do with your roasted vegetables, you're actually going to cover it with a little bit of olive oil. So if you've got a cooking spray is excellent for a recipe like this. However, I didn't. I've only got olive oil in the kitchen, and I couldn't even find a spray bottle to spray it through. So I'm just going to sprinkle some olive oil on the top. So remember, the technique is really simple, and you can do the same sort of crumb if you're making, say, chicken tenders or something like that. Absolutely the same. Take your chicken, and then you want to cover it in the egg wash. And remember, it's that beautiful crumb made from almond meal. You've got your own herbs and spices in there. Absolutely delicious, but that secret comes from actually cooking it in the oven. Now you do have 2 options when it comes to cooking it in the oven as well. You can actually grill this recipe. It will cook faster. The reason why I'm baking it is I want my onions to be really tender and soft. They can still be a little crunchy if you grill it, or if you do grill it and you grill it really fast, it can cook really fast on the outside, and it will still just be a little too firm in the center. So there you go. Right, flip those ones over, and remember again, you can mix up these flavorings. And that's the cool thing about this, is it is quite a versatile dish. Hey, Derek Quinn watching from Wellington. How are you, Derek? Good to see you on the stream tonight. Super, I'm going to say it's a healthy dish. Onion rings, one of my favorites. I absolutely love it. And I just think, sometimes, especially if you're having a bit of a dinner party or you're having friends over, maybe you're watching, we're coming into winter soon, so it'll be rugby season. This is a really nice dish to have without compromising your low-carb eating goals. Oh, yeah, delicious. Like the smell. I wish I had smell-o-vision, because the smell is exceptional. It is just so good. Cover that all over. Right, put that in there. I mean, you guys get the idea. It could not be easier. But the idea is you really want to cover as much of your onion ring with egg first. So really important. Grab your onion ring, and you're going to separate it out. Push all those little pieces through. And then you're going to cover that in your egg. Really, really important. Make sure too, trick for new players, make sure when it's in there, that you turn it over, because I made that mistake of not turning them over. So, and wondering why my crumb wouldn't stick on the outside. So funny, it cracked me up. But, you know, they were still delicious. Half of them had the seasoning on, which was fantastic. Okay, that's looking good. I'm going to add a little bit more of my crumb in there. So remember, if you've just joined the stream, welcome, welcome, welcome. One of my favorite recipes, low carb, delicious onion rings. So I've put in another 1/4 cup of almond meal. So the most expensive ingredient in this would be the almond meal there. A big bag like this, which is roughly 3 cups of almond meal, that retails at my local supermarket for $9. The cool thing is I don't use a lot of it all the time. I use it occasionally when I make cakes or muffins, which are low carb. I use it to replace the flour content in a recipe. So it's, again, you know, foods like cakes and muffins are not necessarily something I eat every day. They're more of a treat kind of food, to be honest. Okay, if you've just joined into the mix, I'm going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. Delicious. And then you want to look at some sort of flavoring with this. While paprika has a lovely aroma, it's not necessarily the strongest of flavors. So into the mix, you could add in a whole lot of garlic salt, which is delicious. Seriously. Oops, probably a little bit much there. Going to mix that all through. Garlic salt, one of my absolute favorites, because you do need a little bit of salt in this dish. Almond meal does not traditionally have a whole lot of flavor, so you want to make sure you've got that lovely saltiness in there as well. Awesome. Okay, looking good. We've got a nice mix there. Make sure all the ingredients are mixed through, because you don't want one of your onion rings just covered in paprika and nothing else. That's not manners. You want a good mix there. Right. Okay. Here we go for those newcomers to the stream tonight. You're just going to basically dump your onion rings in that bread mix there. It's like a bread crumb, like a really fine bread crumb. That's what I love about it too. And we're not going to fry our onion rings. We are going to bake them in the oven. So it is a healthier option while you still get that yummy snackiness there. Oh, so good. Like, these are seriously great. In fact, I may have made myself a batch yesterday and eaten the entire thing for lunch. Apparently it's supposed to be a 4-person serving, or there's 4 servings in this, but I say, you know what? Life is short, enjoy good food. Right, the magic here, just simply flip them over. That's all it is. And then load it up on a baking tray like that. You're going to flip them over, cover them up with your mix there, your lovely, delicious, savoury crumb. And then we throw it up onto the tray. Right, we're nearly done. I'm not going to do the whole lot because I don't want to bore you guys. I'm sure you've got much better things to do than to watch me covering onion rings. I want to show you what to do next. So just flip these last couple over like that. Perfect. Delicious. Oh, seriously, the aroma with that paprika in there is absolutely divine. Right, nearly there. I'm just cheating a little bit by using my hands, but that's all right. I'm the only one who's going to eat them in this house anyway, so it's good. Right, looking good. Okay, so we've got some really nice looking onion rings. Now, normally I would do the whole tray. And a whole tray is basically 1 giant onion and about a cup of almond meal all up. 1 egg is all you need, 1 to 2 depending on the size of your eggs. So if you're using a size 6, you'll need to use 2 eggs in there. And if you're using an 8, you'll have enough to go around. 7 will just make it with a medium-sized onion. Okay, so we've got those there. We're now going to add the magic, which is a little bit of olive oil. So because I'm a low carber, everything that I eat is based on a philosophy of plant, protein, and fat. So that's basically how I combine all of my meals. So I know here, plant is the basis of this meal because we've got all of the plant coming from onions. Well, it's not even a meal really, it's a snack, right? So we've got onions and we've also got almond meal in there, which counts as part of our plant count there. Protein, you've got proteins coming in from the almond as well, which is fantastic. Really good source of fiber coming in with that too. And then we've got fats. There is a little bit of fat in your almond meal, but we're going to add just a little sprinkle, a little drizzle over top of olive oil, probably a little bit much. Olive oil, great for your skin, wonderful for your skin, wonderful for your hair, great for your diet. I'm 100% a true believer in olive oil. If you look at people around the world, all those countries like Greece and Italy that add olive oil into their diet, look at their skin, look at their hair. And the old grandmothers are in their 90s and in their 100s and they're still bossing people around. I speak from love, by the way. I have my best friends from Italy, her family are from Italy. A message from Pete. Pete. Lynn said Parmesan. Thank you, Lynn. You know what? I'll do it now. Completely forgot. Just as well you guys are onto it tonight. Loves it. You're going to sprinkle it. I'll tell you what, this is great. I'd normally put it in my crumb, but because I forgot it, thank you, Lynn, I'm just going to actually sprinkle it onto my onions. It's all going to melt together and be delicious anyway. Oh, Nand Kishore Pant, thank you very much for your lovely comment saying nice. Thank you so much. The other thing you can do too, if you just want big onion slices, here's something I learned by trialing the recipe. You can actually take a whole slice of onion like that. You can pop that into your egg mix and you can batter or crumb basically that whole thing. That is so delicious because the whole center stays all beautiful and sweet, and that's what happens through the baking process. And then basically you've got this delicious kind of savory crumb on the outside. Absolutely delicious. I love Indian food and I love onion bhaji. That's my absolute favorite. So this kind of, even though that's battered in chickpea flour, this kind of reminds me a little bit of it because I love it so much. That's going to go in the oven. That cooks in about 15 to 20 minutes. If you're doing it under the grill, you're probably in there for about 5 to 6 minutes max. But you need to keep an eye on it because it will brown up really quickly. And depending on how much paprika you decide to add, because the recipe's yours now, you can add more paprika in if you like it, or some chili. The color will change as it cooks. And I'll show you an example. Just pop that in the oven. Delicious. Here's some I prepared earlier. I love it. So this is a delicious, tasty snack. It's low carb, which for me is a really healthy option. I can't see anybody's comments tonight, so something must be wrong with my computer, but I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Super easy to make. I've got it with a little serving of sour cream there on the side, which makes a really lovely dip. Look, you could, whatever your favorite dip is, you can have with it, but I actually just like it by itself. Delicious. So your onion rings will go super soft in the middle. Oh. That flavor, I can't even begin to tell you. That is delicious. Now, I made these probably 3 hours ago. Oh, that flavor. Oh my goodness. They're best to have when they're hot and fresh from the oven. Oh, the savory flavors, the salt's in there, and oh, the garlic salt coming through, and the paprika. This, honestly, this is my diet food. If you like the look of it and you want more amazing recipes which are low carb, so if you've struggled with your weight, or if you've struggled perhaps with symptoms of IBS, all of my recipes are not only low carb, they're gluten free as well. So head to my website so you can give them a whirl, have a look. There's the details on my website. I also have via my website, you can sign up for a subscription with my Facebook group. It's a private group where people talk and they share ideas about food. In that group, you also get an additional 20-minute Skype call with me. So if you're struggling with your diet a little bit, my diet journey's lasted 25 years, and low carb is the first thing that's actually worked for me. So if you need your diet tweaked, join the group and see how we can work together to help you transform your life, transform your health, while eating the most delicious, tasty food ever. If diet food like this looks good to you, we need to connect. MoniqueBradley.tv is my website. Head to the website, get my recipes, try them out for yourself. Let me know your thoughts. I've got to head away. I've got another live stream coming up in just a few minutes in my private group. Nice to see you guys tonight. Thanks for popping in. Sorry if I didn't say hello to you. Oh, look really good. Do you like them, do you, Lynn? I've just seen your comment there. These are so good, my friend. You're going to want to make them immediately. I better head away. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. I'm Monique Bradley, the woman who's lost 40 kilos in weight, transformed her life and her health, and you can do it too. Head to my website, MoniqueBradley.tv. Ka kite anō inohora. Bye. Delicious.